QPR, QPR, Chris Rangers are on the up and up. QPR, QPR, now we're heading for European Cup.
Hello and welcome to the QPR podcast. I am David Fraser and we are top of the league. I'm joined by three other QPR fans. I have with me two Chris's. To my left I have from ITV Sport, Chris Mendes.
Hello.
And to my right I have, I don't know why I always say to my left, to my right, because it doesn't make any difference to anybody who's listening at all. But he is on my right and he works for BT Sport and he's called Chris and he's a QPR fan and his surname is Charles. Chris Charles.
Hi there.
And we have Paul Finney right where we want him this week, which is not here, which is we have, for the first time ever, Paul Finney via the telephone. How are you, Paul?
Well, that's nice, isn't it? Eh? So welcome that is, I can tell you. I reckon they shut the pub next door to get away from me as well.
That's true. So explain, have your rant, explain why you're on the phone and not in the studio.
No, I just had to go up north for work, and I got back late, and all the trains were cancelled, and I could moan about that for ages. You know, one of things. What can you do? You can't be at two places at once, even though I am.
Even if you're Paul Finney, you can't be in two places at once.
I can't, and I do apologise, chaps. Thanks for having the decency to have me on. I don't deserve you lot as colleagues.
I think you've done it on purpose, though, because you expect one of us to thank you for everything you've done for the club.
Good shit.
This is the first time, actually, in 6 years that not one of us has dialed in. It's quite remarkable, really.
So you did phone me in Belfast for Alan McDonald's game, but I was too drunk to speak to.
That was a long time ago.
Yep, and you had to speak to Andy Evans instead because I was a wee bit sided.
I'm already liking remote Finney, actually.
You're about as nice as other people, I can tell you.
Right, okay, so let me do what I need to do, which is anybody who's new to the podcast, welcome and thanks for listening. If you want to follow us on Twitter or get in touch, you can at QPR Pod. You can search for us on Facebook, look for the QPR podcast, or you can find us on iTunes, just kind of put all the normal things in the search engine on iTunes, QPR podcast, that kind of thing, and you'll find us. And if you want to listen to any old episodes, you can go to our website at qprpod.co.uk. Right, we're going to have a chat with Danny Gabbidon in a few minutes, who wasn't... I think we often say we have a QPR legend on the phone. We most definitely don't have a QPR legend on the phone this evening, because he played sort of about a handful of games. But he might be quite interesting, given that he played for that lot that we played yesterday, and he played for us in that first Premier League season. But before we get on to him... 2 games, 2 wins, or 3 games, 3 wins if you're counting the League Cup win. Early days, but top of the league. Haven't let in a league goal yet. Should we stop the season now?
Definitely stop the season now. If it carries on like this, I think we've got a good chance of staying up, to be honest.
Steady on.
Yeah, I, as you say, I mean, 5 goals for none conceded. I don't think there's been a single shot on target from an opposition team. I don't know where to start. I mean, clearly the fitness program Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank has employed during the summer is working well, because I didn't go to Cardiff, but certainly against Leeds, right up until the 90th minute, which told when Poulter got his goal, everyone was running, everyone was chasing things down. They weren't giving up the ghost, they weren't coasting. The players looked like they want to play for the team rather than themselves. There's round pegs in round holes. Everyone seems to know what they're doing. I mean, it's almost too good to be true. And I really enjoyed the podcast last week, and Richard Langley is a QPR legend, and utmost respect for him. But I disagree. I think it is time to get carried away, and I want to be shouting we're top of the league, because it might not happen again for the rest of the season.
Yeah. If you want to listen to a QPR legend relieving himself on your chips, listen to last week's podcast with Richard Langley. It was quite something. Finn, you were there yesterday. What went down? Well, I know the result, obviously. What was it like? How did we play? What did you think of it?
It was really bizarre, because there was hardly anyone there. I mean, the Cardiff fans came as chairs. It was really that empty, honestly. I don't know if they're having a protest or they're falling out with their owners, or he wants him to play in something other colour or change their name or whatever going on there. But there's something going on there because first time game of the season, you'd expect them to at least come and then get disappointed. But anyway, there wasn't that many QPR fans. It was a horrible day and everyone's still on holiday. I missed last week because I was on holiday, so I get all that. And it was good crack because for the first 65 minutes or so, it wasn't very good. In fact, it was like a pre-season friendly, which I kind of blame the lack of crowd there for, if I'm being honest. I had a pre-season feel about it, but there's no shot on target. And then bang, we just absolutely turned into gear, did the job, got the penalty, job done, came on with, we won ugly. There's no other way to describe it. And you know what? That's what you have to do. That is to it. Say I was worried we would not score enough goals. I am completely wrong. I am an idiot. I see what he's doing, and I think one of the secrets is that we've actually got a left back now that is kind of like indoorsy type. He just goes up and down. You don't even know he's playing, and they're the best type of fullbacks you can have, and that has made such a difference to the defence.
And Cousins came in for Shadipo. Do a good job.
Yeah, I like him. I mean, Chris said, or we better go there, don't get carried away. Come on, let's get carried away. This doesn't happen very often. It might not even happen again for years. Why not? I mean, it looks like we've got the balance right. The players that have come in are working really hard. And like you've got Lynch, probably begging to get on that pitch. And so he's going to come in wanting to play for the team. So you've got players wanting to come in to do the job rather than people just going through the mill and not wanting to be there. It's a fantastic change, and we look so much fitter. It's unbelievable. I mean, I'm not going to get carried away just yet on 3 games, but I am very, very, very excited.
That's definitely a game yesterday that we would have either lost or drawn last season. And I think when we took the lead, a lot of people felt, we're going to, so many times last season towards the end and from the middle, when Hasselback took over, we let in a lot of late goals. And once we took the lead, Cardiff made an attacking substitution, but we're still just as hard to break down. And all the signs are really good. And one of the most positive things as well is that team spirit seems to be good. Looking at social media posts, big positive is Stephen Corker's form. I don't think many people expected him to come back into the team. They just because he was loaned out to Liverpool last season, we kind of expected him to be sold either on loan or permanently. But he came back with the right attitude, unlike Sandro. And it's good that Hasselbank has that kind of no-nonsense attitude to players. So he said with Corker, he came back in the right frame of mind and he came back fit. So he's going to play a big part in the season, whereas Sandro came back a day late, completely different. He's got no future at the club.
Well, it's an interesting, I don't know if you saw it a few weeks ago, there's an article in The Guardian, big interview with Corker. His grandfather's from Sierra Leone, and apparently over the summer, instead of going to Ibiza or doing the things that footballers normally do, he took himself off to Sierra Leone.
I follow him on Instagram, and he did do those things that footballers
absolutely.
still do.
Oh, okay.
But let's not let that take away from the story you're about to tell us.
Well, I just, it just seemed that certainly the way the article was written, that it was a bit of a life-changing experience for him to come face to face with such desperate poverty. There was a little quote there. He said, "It has changed me already. I recognise better my wants and needs. I ask myself now whether I need something, say a £200 shirt, or if I just want it. I know it sounds simplistic, but I've been living in a bubble all these years. The $50,000 I spent on that school is worth so much more than anything else I've ever bought. I'd rather put my money into that now." Good for him. So hopefully that is a genuine. It did seem, rather than, "Hey, look at me, I'm giving money to charity," which maybe there was some of that, but it seems like it's. Maybe that's helped him. Maybe he's knuckled down, and the downside to it, if you like, is the better he plays, the more chance he's got of moving back to the Premier League before the end of the window. But hopefully that won't happen.
What's that? 2 games? There's only 2 games between now and the end of the window.
But if you got,
but you know what? That's no bad thing, though, is it? Be fair, if he can use us for a move, because I'm sure that he still would be on quite a lot of money, and if he gets some money back to put in the coffers, and we got Lynch as a ready-made replacement, it wouldn't be so bad. And if we get help along the way, and he gets help, he can leave with his head held high.
Yeah, that's sort of what I was going to say. It's a downside, but the other, we've got to realise that we finally got back to what we should be, and we're not a club that can afford to, spend loads of money on big name signings. But it's one of those, isn't it? If he is playing so well and we're playing so well, it would still be a bit of a blow to see him go.
I have nothing to base this on, apart from a few murmurings that I've heard here and there, but I don't think there's any intention to sell him. I don't think he's in the team to be sold. I think he's in the team because Hasselbank took a look at what he thought he needed, and he took a look at Kolka, and my opinion, which is only based on kind of what I see and a hunch, is that Hasselbank thinks he's here to stay. Cue him now leaving next week. Let's briefly, before we go to the interview, very briefly, is Swindon, is that just an early season aberration, not a trend, like just blowing the cobwebs away, one of those things, or do we read anything into the sort of struggle and then overcoming of Swindon?
Oh, we won a cup tie. We should have had a bus parade.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how we did it. Into the next round with a really good tie as well that we should win. And then we can play anyone in the round after that. It'd be great to have a really good League Cup run. I mean, the last good one we had was when we got knocked out by Man United eventually at Old Trafford. I can't remember how many years ago that was, but I think Gareth Ainsworth was in charge for that game. But that was good.
Chris, did you just hear? Did I hear that right? Did you just say a cup match we should win in the next round? Did you say that? Really?
Well, listen.
Did you say that?
But look, given them the last penalty shootout I saw, we lost to Vauxhall Motors. I don't think you can rule anything out there. Really.
Apparently, here's a fact for you. I'm not known for these things because I'm not really that sort of person. But first ever penalty shootout win at Loftus Road ever.
Really?
Is that right?
Yep, that is the first
good penalties as well.
Good.
I thought they were all good penalties.
Yeah, Cherries had a few of them.
Yeah.
The one yesterday was an absolute stormer. If a Brazilian done that, they'd be raving. It was the perfect penalty.
Yeah, well, that's two he's had in league games, isn't it? And again, the penalty was quite late on, which shows that we're not just resting on our laurels, and we've got the energy, the fitness to be able to compete for the full 90 minutes, whereas other teams probably haven't.
The thing I like about this team is, it's difficult not to compare it to the team. I know I'm kind of getting ahead of ourselves already, but the last time we won first two league games of the season without conceding was in 2010-11. We all know how that season ended, but looking at that team in 2010-11, a lot of our key players were like getting on a little bit into their 30s, so it meant that when we did progress into the next league. But looking at our team now, a lot of our key players are quite young, so they should get better. So
well, I mean,
it's promising for the future if we do go on and go up in the next couple of years.
Yeah, well, I was looking at a few, and I think we won, if memory serves, we won 8 of our first 10 and drew the other 2 on the way to a 19-game unbeaten run that season. And I think we also won 8 of the first 10 in 2013, something like that, 2012.
Right.
Might have been later than that.
Well, we've won 2 out of 2.
We've won
so
2 out of 2.
far.
Yeah.
So.
I'm not going to get that carried away.
Yeah, well, people were tipping Newcastle to go the whole season unbeaten, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, how's that going?
So we're not getting carried away. We're going to win the League Cup and we're going to win the league. That's brilliant.
Exactly. Right. Okay, let's have a quick word with this week's interview, which, with a bit of luck, we have Danny Gabbidon waiting for us.
Hi, Danny. It's Chris. How you doing?
Hello, not too bad, thank you very much. How are you doing yourself?
Yeah, I'm very well. Well, first of all, before we talk about anything else, you were co-commentating on Cardiff QPR yesterday, weren't you?
I was, yeah, and very much impressed with Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank and how we've got QPR playing from the start of the season. They played very well.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk more, but on your commentary, one of the people online on the message board said you were extremely descriptive, made it easy to imagine the game as it develops, nice tactical comments too, really impressed with him. So there you go.
Who was that guy? I'll have to send her a bottle of champagne or something.
Yeah, well, there was a few people on, there was a thread, people were listening, they said it makes a change to have a good commentator again. So there you go, I'm only repeating what other people have said, but well done for that.
Oh. Thank you very much.
So we were just talking about the fitness that Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, the fitness regime is employed over the summer and how they keep going the full 90 minutes. Did it strike you as that as well?
Yeah, I think you could see that. I actually did that game towards the end of last season, and it was kind of a end of a season affair really, and you could see Jimmy was throwing in 1 or 2 players who I think he was thinking about maybe for the next season, and to see that kind of difference to now, you can see he's had that kind of pre-season with them. They certainly look really fit. They were going to the 90th minute, closing down from the front. The likes of Poulter, the 2 wide men, Cousins. They did look really fit and organised, and that was something that I really kind of picked up when I was doing the commentary. It wasn't so much about their kind of forward play, it was more their fitness and their organisation off the ball and how they kept that kind of discipline for the whole game. And that's what really got them the victory in the end. You know, they were really solid defensively. The two centre-halves were brilliant, Corker and the young lad Hall, I thought was exceptional. And that's what their kind of performance was really built on. And, you know, I think his record, he's only won one away game since he was... since he's come as manager. So, you know, you're kind of thinking coming to Cardiff, who only lost one game home last season, you know, this is really going to be a difficult test. But, you know, they defended really well. It was the perfect away performance, really. But you're spot on there, really, saying about the fitness and stuff. They certainly looked really fit and really organised to go with it as well.
Danny, so I'm not familiar with what you did or didn't predict for the start of the season for the Championship, but a lot of pundits said, you know, Newcastle nailed on and Villa will do well and some, you know, plenty of other teams, Sheffield Wednesday, Norwich, and, you know, QPR will do well to kind of get a mid-table or mid-table should be the target. We're very busy getting carried away here after 2 wins. What are your predictions now after a couple of rounds of games?
I think it's, you know, the Championship is a difficult league to predict, and it's very easy at the start of the season to go with the favourites, the teams that have gone down. You know, Newcastle have spent a lot of money, Aston Villa are there as well, have come down. So it's very easy to kind of pick those teams to go straight back up. But as we all know, the Championship is a difficult league. It's not always about, you know, the teams with the best players or the teams that spend the most money. It's about a little bit how QPR played on the weekend. You know, a team who are organised, who want to work hard for each other, and you need to be doing that, you know, game in, game out. You know, because the games come thick and fast in that league. It's Tuesday, Saturday for a lot of the season, so it's all about characters. And you know, you've heard Jimmy Floyd-Housebank speak about hard work. Everything's about hard work in the team, and that's what it's all about in that league. So, you know, if 2 wins out of 2 from QPR, you can't do any more than that. And I'm sure confidence will be really high. There's always a couple of teams who go under the radar in a league and surprise a few people. And, you know, hopefully QPR can be one of them. But I think, you know, you've really got a good manager there. It looks like the players are really, you know, buying into him and wanting to play for him. And, you know, that hasn't been the case probably at QPR for a few years. But I think, you know, he's the right man to come in there and he you know, he's sorting things out. You know, the players that he's brought in, the players that he's let go, you know, it certainly looks like the club now is moving in the right direction with him. And, yeah, they could be that surprise package of the season. As I said at the end of my commentary, you know, if they can keep playing like that the whole season, if they can keep up that, you know, that team spirit, working for each other, that organisation, then, you know, they'll be a really difficult team to beat.
Now, talking in previous seasons, let me take you back. We'd love your memories of your reasonably brief time at QPR. It was, like every season seems to be, a lot went on. So we just got promoted. Neil Warnock was the manager. Then the new owners came in. Then they brought the likes of Joey Barton and all the rest of them in. Then the manager got sacked. Then Mark Hughes came in. Then we stayed up. What are your memories of that one season at Loftus Road for you?
My memories were... it felt more like 3 or 4 seasons in one. It was pretty crazy. A lot of stuff going on. I'm glad you didn't mention I actually scored an own goal on my debut as well.
The Swansea game, was it? Yeah.
No, we played Bolton.
Bolton. Sorry.
So it was it was quite a turbulent season. To be honest with you, a lot of stuff going on off the field. A lot of players were signed. A lot of different personalities kind of assembled all together, and it was just crazy. I think at the end of the day, for QPR to actually stay in the division that season was an achievement in itself, because, you know, there was so many things going on. You know, there was stuff going on in the dressing room, some players not getting on. There was obviously the takeover. You know, Neil Warnock was in charge. Then, you know, he went. Mark Hughes come in, and, you know, lots of different players coming and going. It really was a crazy kind of season. So, you know, I think for the club to actually stay up at the end of that season was a big achievement, because I didn't actually think that it was going to happen, because you do need certain things in place for a club to kind of be successful. You need the team spirit on the pitch, and you need all the off the field kind of conditions to be right. And we didn't really have a lot of that at the time, so it was a little bit surprising. And the years kind of after that as well have not kind of been great. The chairman's put a lot of kind of money into the club. Lots of players have come in and gone, and with relatively small success from it. So it's kind of a rebuilding project there now. And as I said, I think you've got a really good manager in, good young hungry manager who knows what he wants, and he's getting the players in that he wants. People that want to play for the club, want to work hard for each other, and I think that's shown in the first couple of games this season.
What was the feeling when Warnock got sacked inside the dressing room? Because a lot of fans were mixture of, I suppose, surprised and disappointed, really, and felt that he was at the time doing quite a good job. What was the view in the dressing room?
Well, I think probably similar, really. We didn't think we were doing too bad. It was a little bit of a shock, I suppose. We probably thought he would get a little bit kind of more time, but I think with the kind of the change of ownership, and the club wanted to kind of go a certain way. They wanted to maybe kind of run before they could walk, I suppose, and a lot of investment, bringing in lots of new players. So I suppose maybe they thought with the, we went on a little bit of a bad run, but it was nothing kind of too serious. It was still pretty early in the season, and I think maybe the chairman thought that, with the calibre of play he's trying to sign, maybe he needs a more of a high kind of calibre manager. So, that's kind of what happened. So it was, as players, you are a little bit surprised at the time if it's not really kind of merited or warranted, but you have to move on quickly, because before you know it, a new manager's in and he's trying to impose his new ideas on you. So it's pretty hard to kind of think about it for too long. You have to try and move on as quick as possible, and then next thing you know, of course, you're listening to a new manager and new ideas, and you're trying to fight for your place in the team with a new manager. So personally for me, it wasn't great, because I played quite a few games under Neil Warnock, and Mark Hughes kind of come in, and even though he was an ex-manager of mine with a well set up, he didn't really kind of play me. So from a personal point of view, for me, it didn't really turn out great. But for the club to kind of stay up at the end of the season was a good achievement. But it really was one of kind of many kind of crazy things that kind of went on that season, really. Yeah.
Danny, you mentioned there was a lot of big characters that come together that season. One of them, one of the most talented players we've seen at QPR, Adel Taarabt. What was he like to play with and to train with?
Oh, he was, talent-wise, he was incredible. If he was on his team in the five-a-side or whatever, you knew you were always going to win. Or if you were training against him, you just try and stay away from him. He'd just make you look silly. Some of the new signings that come in who didn't really know too much about him would kind of quickly get embarrassed in training. Personally, myself, I'd stay well away from him, because he's just one of those players who's just natural talent. It wasn't as if he spent hours on the training ground after you finished training, practicing his game. Everything he had was just kind of natural ability, and at times he was just unbelievable, some of the stuff that he could do. But at times his kind of his attitude of let him down. Personality wise, he was a really good guy. I got on really well with him, really, really nice boy. But I think sometimes he'd get a bit frustrated and stuff like that. And I think Neil Warnock managed him quite well. I think the season we got back up to the Premier League, he had a really good season, and Neil Warnock is renowned for being a really good man manager, and he was great at man managing him. He kind of made him feel like he was the main man, and almost let him kind of do what he wanted, I suppose, as long as he was performing on the weekend, which he did. So, but I think that kind of changed a little bit once we got to the Premier League, with different kind of players coming in, of more kind of professional players who have been there and done it. It wasn't as easy for him to really act that way, I suppose. And I think the manager Neil Warnock kind of wanted to still do a similar kind of thing with Adele, and it didn't really work. With the players coming in, they expected a certain kind of standard with certain things, and Adele wasn't always great with doing that side of things. So it was kind of a bit of a mismatch, really. But that he wasn't the only one. There was a lot of different kind of things kind of going on at the time. But as a player, he was fantastic. As I said, some of the things in training, some of the things he would do in games, you would just leave you speechless at times. So you look at some of the clubs he's played for, and he probably should have done more with his career, really, with his talent. You know, he had the talent to kind of play for some of the top teams about, but as I said, attitude-wise and stuff like that, it was probably one of the things at times that let him down the most.
I can totally concur with most of that. And just before you go, Danny, I was just going to say, how much does togetherness in a team play a part? I'm looking at your the team you played for Wales in the Euros. That team spirit, they're saying, took them to the semi-finals. We seem to have got that in abundance now. And how far can that carry you, team spirit?
Yeah, it can make up for a lot of things. It's a great kind of a comparison. And look at the Wales team, and you ask the manager, you ask any of the players, if you ask them what their biggest strength is, he'll tell you it's the team spirit, and the players will as well. We've got some fantastic players there. Obviously, it's a Gareth Bale, Aaron Ramsey, Ashley Williams. Those, they're really good players, but they can't do what they do if the team's not helping them, if the team spirit's not there, and that is the biggest thing that carried that team through to the semi-final, the togetherness, and I think QPR are starting to get that, and that comes obviously with winning games as well. Getting off to a really good start will help. The confidence between everyone will be flowing now. They'll be believing even more that what Jimmy Floyd-Hasselbank is saying is working. And another player, that's all you want, really. You want to be told what to do, and then when you see things are working, then that's when you really kind of buy into things and you believe that success is possible. So we can talk about promotion after 2 games. Why not? That's the confidence that you want within the team, and it's, as I said, the championship is built on characters. You need that team spirit. You can have lots of individual players with quality, but it doesn't mean that you're going to win that league or you're going to get in the playoffs. It's about having characters. It's about having that togetherness. It's about getting a win on a Saturday, and then can you go away some on a Tuesday night and then show that same character and maybe dig in and maybe not play that well, but still able to pick up points, and that's what QPR did on the weekend. It wasn't a great attacking performance, but they defended really well, and I think it was their solidity and how well they defended got them the win in the end. Cardiff kind of ran out of ideas, and a set piece, great header from Stephen Corker, and then a mistake in the box and a penalty. Sometimes that's how you win games in this league. Sometimes it's a set piece. It's not always great attacking play, like you scored 3 goals against Leeds at home. You have to be able to win ugly as well in this league. So it'd be a good sign. I think Jimmy Floyd-Hasselbank will probably enjoy that victory just as much as the one against Leeds, because it was a different kind of victory, and you need your team to be able to produce them as the season goes on. So I think, yes, onwards and upwards for QPR, and I think they're only going to get stronger as the season goes on.
Danny, thank you very much. Just before you go, you've got a new podcast yourself, haven't you? Yeah, we got a podcast, me and 2 other lads who are retired players, Reece Weston and Sam Parkin. It's called Hanging Up the Boots. So we basically we get guests on every couple of weeks, people who have maybe retired the same as us, or different kind of walks of life and stuff, and basically talk about the week's football and what these guests have kind of been up to with their careers and in their lives. So tune in, guys. Probably not quite as good as yours, but so stop it!
We're trying.
I can confirm it's a very good podcast. I have listened to several episodes and I enjoyed it. And if anybody's interested, you can find it on Twitter at HUTB Podcast, Hanging Up the Boots Podcast. Yeah. Danny,
did you listen to the Ali Fallen one? You listened to Ali Fallen?
I did listen to that. I did listen to that. No, it's a good podcast, and yes, as Danny says, they had one with Ali Fallen on, so well worth listening to. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, guys.
And come on again soon, Danny. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Danny.
Cheers. Anytime. Take care.
Bye.
Take care.
Okay. Should we wind up, Finney? About that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's keep it running. Anybody that's listening, we had to tap out of Finney. We had to hang up on him because we didn't have the technology to do 2 phone calls at once. And now we're going to call Finney back and should we see if we can get a rise out of him? Yeah. Okay.
Danny's definitely got the gift of the gab there, hasn't he?
Very good. Okay. So this is a podcast in real time now because we're keeping it recording.
Keeping it real.
Hello.
Hi, mate. You right?
Ain't bad yourself?
Yeah. You ready to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
We haven't got that long, so we're going to have to go straight into ours end. All right.
Not a problem.
Okay, first up, Paul, how do you react to that interview? Strong words from Danny Gabbidon about you there.
I didn't hear it.
Well, you have to respond in some way. He was talking about, kind of QPR fans and their attitude towards it, and then he singled you out. And have you got anything to say back to him?
You what?
Can't keep it up for too long.
Yeah. He basically said the same as you, actually. He said he did say about winning ugly, so you and Danny are singing off the same hymn sheet there, right?
Yeah.
All right, so right, start this again, because I didn't hear a word of that. Say that again.
Yeah.
We tried to wind you up and it didn't work.
Yeah, it didn't. I'm too stupid to be wound up. So don't you learn these things at a time? Is there a protest? Seriously, is there a protest going on down there? Because if there's no protest, if there's nothing going on with the fans, then that is baffling to why that was so empty yesterday. Because none of them too worried about Cardiff. Yeah, I love the Cardiff. I haven't heard of the playoff final.
I don't think so. Right, we've got to go. So the wind-up of Finney didn't go well, but never mind.
I think you need to scrap that, otherwise we'll sound really stupid.
No,
it's only my job.
We'll just keep it and we'll sound stupid. It was me who sounded stupid. We've got to go straight into the R's end. I'm going to throw something at you, which was a message on Facebook from Ray Elders, who sent us a message on Facebook saying, "Hi, I'm from the last outpost of the British Empire, southernmost tip of Natal in South Africa. Been a Rangers fan for over 50 years and was at Wembley and walked home after the League Cup final. Hopefully not to South Africa. Your pod gives me the feeling I'm still a little bit in touch with the team." Well, that's very nice of you to say, Ray. Anyway, he has a question. "I've just read that we might get Charlie back on loan. Since he left, he seems to have been injured, so would he be worth taking? If so, at what price? Surely not full salary. Let Finney free." I think he means let Finney free in answering this question. "I look forward to hearing your wise words," from Ray Elders. So, Finney, that is a question to you that's come in via Facebook. These rumours about Charlie Austin, do we want them to be true? Do we ignore them? What's our view on them?
I mean, I'd have him back tomorrow because he's the best finisher in the Championship. He would absolutely mop it up big style. But at the same time, Poulter's doing really well. I mean, he's come back a lot slimmer, a lot faster, and it's just working his socks off. So, if you have to play the two together. You'd have to sort of find a way, because Poulter's worked really hard. It'd be really unfair for him to lose his place, in my opinion, at this time. But Charlie Austin would easily grab you the goals you need to at least go into the playoffs. More likely, he would take you straight up. Whether he would want to come back is another subject, and also depends on wages. But I'd have him back tomorrow in answer to that question. And thank him very much for listening to our podcast, because we appreciate it.
Chris, your R's end.
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, I'd have him back, but there's that thing about the team spirit we've just been talking about. Not that he's in any way one of the bad eggs, but if you've just got a settled group of players and then somebody comes in from the Premier League who's probably on a bit more money than you're not quite sure how that will affect the team ethic. But of course, you'd be stupid not to have him in your team if you got a chance. I don't think it would happen, but. Okay, there's a couple of things. First of all, I listened to the official QPR podcast, which I thought was very good. It's a good interview with the BFG, but I was a bit surprised they didn't call it Sinton on the Dock of the Bay. That was the only thing.
Which was the name of our pilot episode.
Which was our pilot episode, yeah. They're welcome to use that if they want to, if they listen to this. Okay, so at my R's end, I wanted to mention an unsung hero at the club who's leaving after 5 years. Some of you might know is called Conor McBrearty. He works for as inclusive projects at QPR in the community. I'm sort of reading this a bit. It lists the credits include designing football and sports projects for people with disabilities and work with the disability programme, the Healthy Kickers mental health programme and the special needs school programme. I mean, I know him from the work he's done with the Tiger Cubs, the walks we've done together, and I know that he's very well respected and liked by all the kids there, all the parents, the people at the club. He's moving on to pastures new. He's only going to Goldhawk Road, somewhere called Yarrow, a project called Opening Doors, which involves getting adults with disability involved in sport and the arts. So I just wanted to say, in true Finney style, Connor, thanks for everything you've done for the club, and I'm sure we'll see you on one of the walks soon.
Chris,
lovely fella as well.
Yeah, really nice guy.
Just to mention the Charlie thing, it's a difficult one because I think it depends on how. If we can play two strikers up front, then that's a good option. But it would be quite unfair if he came back and all of a sudden Poulter's out of the team because he has played really well. I'm not sure that it would be a problem if he for the team spirit, because he does seem like quite a genuine bloke, down to earth. So I'm not sure that'd be a problem, but it would be quite a difficult decision. And my R's end, it's just good to see QPR's loan players doing well. Darnell Furlong. It didn't win, but he scored. He got on the score sheet on Saturday, and so did J. Manuel Thomas. And a quick word for Clint Hill, who scored 2 goals in one game for Rangers as well, which is nice to see.
Finney, as our esteemed phone guest this evening, what is your? You can have the final R's end.
No pressure then. To be honest with you, I think I was going to do what Chris did, which is about God, but never mind. He's done that. Sorry. You want to know your mind reading skills aren't that good, to be fair. But no, I would just like everyone to just, use this time that we've got, this lovely start to the season, to unite and get behind everyone and stop the nonsense sometimes. The arguments are stupid. And I start half of them, so I know this. But it'd be great if everyone could just crack on and enjoy this and stop being nasty to each other. Let's just hold hands and enjoy being top of the league.
Paul, what were you smoking down there in Barnet, mate?
Paul,
how
have you enjoyed dialing in to the podcast?
I just feel that everyone else listening is going to be hugely disappointed. We've got a full guest.
It wouldn't be for the first time, would it? We have been doing it nearly 6 years now.
Yeah, it's like we've got that bin-lid Finney. Yeah, this is great. Now, I feel privileged and honoured that you spoke to me and phoned me. Thank you very, very much. And I look forward to seeing you all next Monday, where we'll have a great crack. And we need to find a new bar, because apparently the bar downstairs is shut. Is that right, Chris?
It is, yes. Yeah, it's got a home hand-painted sign, closed.
We need a new pub, and we record in Farringdon. So anybody who knows Farringdon or works around Farringdon, we're opposite the market. Where can we go for a pint before or after the podcast? Sometimes both. Right. Okay, that's the end of the podcast. We will, as Finney says, we'll be back next week, next Monday, available for you from Tuesday. Thank you very much for listening. This has been Open All Ours. Thanks, mate.
Brilliant. Cheers, guys. See you on Saturday.
Bye.
Bye. See you.
UPR, Chris Rangers.